Hi, it's Bee with Crafting Daily Dose, and today I have another alternative for the October 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Ho Ho Ho. Today I'm taking the supplies that are used for this kit and rearranging them in a different way. Plus we get to do a little extra stamping, which is always fun. This card has been stepped up so that it becomes an easel card. It props up like this for display and is able to stand on its own. This is a quick project to make and I'm excited to show you. Here are the pieces that we're using for this card, and as I mentioned, they all come from the kit itself. In fact, these are the same pieces that you would use if you were making card number 2 as instructed, minus that white frame. So we are using this card base, the front panel here, the Ho 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 die cut along with the vellum piece that goes behind it. We've got the large iridescent snowflake, this decorative die cut, and the little sentiment label. This is the coordinating envelope, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping on that as well. And we'll be using just the stamps and the ink that came with the kit. And now we're ready to get started. I like to begin with the stamping, and I'm going to put the Santa Claus is Coming to Town sentiment onto that label using the early espresso ink. I've got the foam mat for my Stamparatus underneath so that I've got a little bit of extra cushion. Now I'm going to stamp on the sleigh and reindeer, and I think it's going to look cool if it's a little bit curved. So I'm going to take just the sleigh and Santa part, and I'm going to put it on the underside of my clear block. And then before I let the reindeer touch down, I'm going to curl them around a little bit, just like that. And then that way, once they're attached, the whole thing is a little bit curved. And while I still have that stamp out, I'll go ahead and do the envelope too. So our envelope is going to close like this, and I want to put a little extra sentiment up here at the top. So I'm just going to flip this part open, and I'm going to aim to stamp here. If I just fold down the envelope flap to stamp, it would probably be okay, but depending on where I want to stamp, there might be an uneven surface underneath with the rest of the envelope there. So by opening it up this way, I'm not taking that chance. Now let's stamp the card base. I'm going to be using it in this landscape orientation. So here's the front of the card, and I'm just going to open it out so that we're just stamping on the single layer here. I'll be stamping the snowflake image first at full strength and then again without re-inking. That's called second generation stamping. I'm doing a little twist in between so that not all the snowflakes are oriented the same way. A lot of the bottom half is going to be covered up, so I'll be doing more stamping on the top half. I always think that this sort of random stamping is really fun to do. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper so that I can stamp off the edge. And then I want to add a few more lighter ones. This card is pretty quick, and we are now ready to assemble. Now before we put everything together, we're going to create an additional score line on this card base. So we're going to use it in the landscape orientation, but to make the score line, I'm going to turn it this way so that I can more easily work with it underneath my trimmer. I want to make a score line that is halfway down this front panel. This is 4 1/4 inches across, so half of that would be 2 1/8. So I want to make a score line that is going to be 2 1/8 from this edge. The easiest way for me to do that is to turn it so that it's facing this way. So I've got the part that I've stamped on over here on the left, and then the plain white part over here on the right. And I'm going to put this edge at 2 1/8, which is right here. For this, I'm going to be using this lighter blade, which is my scoring blade. So score at 2 1/8 of an inch. I'll go ahead and fold it and then reinforce it with my bone folder. And if you haven't already reinforced that center crease from the card, then you'll want to do that too. You can already see how this can fold up into our easel. Next, I'll use the mini glue dots from the kit to attach the ho 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 to the vellum backing and then onto the front panel. I'm just using my take your pick tool to help make it easier to work with those glue dots. Now this panel is going to go onto the center of the card, just like this, and the snowflake is going to go behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that snowflake. I'm just trying to gauge how much room that I have so that the snowflake doesn't go off the edge of the card. Otherwise it won't fit in my envelope. So this is about right here, so I can see a little bit of the center of the snowflake. I'll go ahead and add my glue dots over here. As you're attaching the glue dots, make sure that that pretty iridescent side is the one that's showing on the top. So I've got a few right here, and now I'm going to take off the backing and attach it to the back of the panel. I'm just double checking and rearranging a little bit to make sure that I'm happy with the placement. And once I am, then I can go ahead and press that down. Now I just need to add this panel to the front of my card. Now the bottom part of the panel is going to be attached to this part of the card, but I don't want any adhesive up in this area. Now I'm using glue to do this because it's a little bit faster, but if you don't have glue, just use the mini glue dots that came with the kit. Now for the glue, I'm just estimating the halfway point where it needs to be. It's better for me to put less glue and add it afterwards, rather than have too much glue that's going to end up in the areas where it shouldn't be. So I'm aligning this panel with the bottom edge of my card, and I'm trying to center it horizontally, just eyeballing it the best that I can. If you feel more comfortable, you can go ahead and measure it. The grid paper is going to help me get an estimate here. So if I look, I can count that I have 5 squares on this side of the panel, and then 5 squares on the other side of the panel. So I know that that is nice and centered. I'll go ahead and press it down, and just to make sure on the back, I should not have any adhesive up in this area. Now I did a pretty good job estimating, but you can see that there's still some areas that don't have glue. So if you want to, you can add some more in at this point. I've got just a little scrap of cardstock here, and I'm going to go ahead and put glue on it. This is going to be my applicator. If you're using the glue dots, you can just take your pick tool or your fingers to sneak in a few more glue dots near the top. So I'm going to take it, my glue is facing down at this point, and I'm just going to scrape some along the card base. And press that together. And it's nice and secure, and there's no stray glue where it shouldn't be. So here's what our card looks like so far. And then here's what it's going to look like when it's propped open. But of course we need to have something on the inside to help it stay propped open. I've got that decorative die cut, and I'm going to put glue on the back. Again, if you don't have glue, use the glue dots. I'm going to go ahead and glue it to the inside of my card, and I'm going to do about 1 1/4 inches from the bottom edge. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these squares. So the top edge of this is going to be 5 squares up, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm going to open this up so you can see more clearly what I'm doing. I'm centering it horizontally, and again, I've got it about 1 1/4 inches from the top. Now, if you want to, you can move this up further or down lower, depending on the angle that you want this piece to rest at. So where I have it now, it's going to look like this from the side. If you want it to stand up higher, you can move that strip further along this way. But this to me is a good compromise because it still leaves me plenty of room to write something that's going to remain hidden even when the card is displayed. If you tend to write a lot, you could use this inside part as well. And then all I have left is this sentiment label. I went ahead and put some of those dimensional foam stickers on the back. I put 3 here. Let me go ahead and take off the backing. And then I'm going to center it over this decorative strip. Now, if you want to, you can center it vertically as well as horizontally, but I'm going to align the top edge of this with the top edge of my decorative strip. And now this becomes the stopper that keeps our easel card propped up. There's our finished card. We've used the supplies from the kit in a different way, and we've stepped it up by turning this into an easel card that props up easily for display, but still leaves you plenty of room for your message. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this dose of creativity. If you get a chance to make this project, I would love to see it, so share it in my Facebook group or tag me if you're sharing elsewhere. If you're interested in Paper Pumpkin but don't yet have a demonstrator, you can find the subscription link as well as all of my other links in the description box below. I hope to craft with you again next time, and until then, have a great day.